Member for Esquimalt, Chosen.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Speaker, today I'm going to talk about the important issue of seismic safety in schools in BC. We're all at risk of the impact of an earthquake, and when children are in school, they are in the care of the BC school system, and so we must pay attention to the conditions of the schools they are studying in. We can all expect that at some point in the next years, we will face an earthquake. The last catastrophic earthquake in BC happened on January the 27th, 1700, and experts say that it's inevitable that another one will hit BC with a 12% probability of one occurring in the next 50 years. When it does, we can expect damaged buildings and infrastructure, flooding, fires, and thousands of people forced to leave their homes. We will also face a high number of injuries, casualties, and it's the most vulnerable that will be at risk. Parents separated from their children will want to know that in the immediacy, they're protected and looked after, and in the short term, they'll soon be able to reach them. We must, of course, applaud school districts and all education providers for having protocols for what to do in an earthquake already. You know the drill. Parents pack a bag with their kids with reassuring messages, favourite items, a sleeping bag. Even so, we can do more to protect our children when an earthquake hits. The reality is that roads and infrastructure will be so damaged, it will actually be very difficult for parents to get to their children quickly. And the best protection for them will be to be in safe and secure buildings, at least until they're reached. So the Ministry of Education, therefore, has a seismic mitigation programme to tackle the risks of schools collapsing and to ensure that schools are protected as far as possible in the event of an earthquake. The Ministry of Education's seismic mitigation programme is a partnership with engineers and geoscientists British Columbia and the University of B.C. As of December 2017, 168 out of 346 SMP schools have been completed. However, this means that there were still 178 schools in BC that are high risk of collapsing in a major earthquake, just at the end of last year. That's potentially tens of thousands of students and hundreds of teachers at risk of being trapped or killed if a catastrophic earthquake were to occur during school hours. That's an unacceptable risk, and it shows why it is so critical that we complete these upgrades quickly. Since launching the Seismic Mitigation Programme, the Ministry of Education has spent over $1.6 billion to complete projects throughout the province. However, as of last summer, 155 schools in earthquake-prone areas that are considered high risk had no scheduled upgrades planned. So there's a lot of catch-up to do, and all the time, the risk of a devastating event is increasing. So that's why, since day one, after being sworn in as government, we've been reaching out and working with school districts to fast-track seismic approvals. We are committed to accelerating the school seismic mitigation programme to make sure all of our schools are safe for students and teachers. We're working with school boards to meet an ambitious timeline so we can get schools upgraded quickly. Since coming into government, we have announced combined funding of $216 million for seismic upgrades or replacements at 15 high-risk schools. That's 15 seismic upgrades in schools announced in less than a year. And our government has committed $522 million over 3 years for seismic upgrades across the province of British Columbia. We're also working with seismic mitigation programme experts, including engineers and geoscientists British Columbia, to look for ways to more efficiently and cost-effectively meet and exceed the building code for seismic safety. We're also able to take opportunity of meeting other capital needs and other building initiatives in partnership with school boards and school districts. So we use the building code, and we use other seismic research to regularly reevaluate the seismic risk ratings of schools and look at the overall functioning and capability of the schools. Of course, at the end of the day, what's important is reducing the risk to students and teachers and fast-tracking what we can do to make sure all of our schools across the province are as safe as possible. You know, everyone puts their trust in us to provide a safe learning environment. In the words of the Minister of Education, we're making these investments, quote, to make sure families can send their kids to school knowing they will be safe in the event of an earthquake. As a father with children in the public education system in Victoria, it is extremely important to me that we give our students a safe learning environment. We know there is more work to do, and that is why we have 50 seismic projects that will proceed to approval in the next 18 months. I'm very proud, Honourable Speaker, to be part of a government that is moving so fast and giving such priority to the safety of children in our schools across the province. Thank you.